Begin our meeting with pledge to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first thing on our agenda this evening is a public hearing in reference to the ordinance number 310. The public hearing is being held for questions and comments from residents on proposed ordinance number 310. Ordinance 310 would eliminate and replace a certain obstacle provisions concerning the allocations of taxes and authorize the town to exempt the resolution certain property, personal property used in manufacturing or research and development from the payment of personal property tax. The public hearing was advertised in Carroll County Times on October the 11th and October the 18th. At this time, we're open for questions and comments, if there's any. Doesn't look like we're having anyone here. No, we don't really have to vote on this because it's a resolution. You want them to vote on it.
Well, when you open your regular meeting, we should vote on it.
Okay, if there's no one here for the public hearing, we'll close the public hearing part of this meeting and we'll go into our regular council meeting. Okay, we'll open our regular meeting with approval of the minutes and operating statements.
I make a motion that we approve the operating statement, September 24th, 2012 council meeting minutes, October 1, 2012 work session minutes, and Quantum's financial statement for August 2012.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, ayes?
Aye.
Noes, motion's carried. Okay. Under the mayor's report, we've had a pretty calm month this month so far. We did have the fall convention. I think that was last month. No, I'm trying to think. Well, we had the fall convention in Hagerstown a couple of weeks ago. Some things were brought up. They discussed the I guess you'd call it the stormwater tax that they want to start charging people. And as of right now, they still do not know how they're going to enforce that or how they're going to enact it and who is going to collect the fees. I personally think that if the state's going to do it in the county, it should come from them guys. I think most of the towns feel the same way because we don't know how to do the assessment on it. Quite a lot of discussion on that matter throughout everybody at the MML level. So right now, the only thing we know is that they're supposed to implement it by September or by July of next year. So we'll have to wait and see what happens because I don't think anybody really knows what's going to happen at this point. So we'll wait and see what happens there. That's about all that I have under the mayor's report. I've got some other things I'm going to bring up later. I guess we'll go right down to the attorney's report. John?
Okay, and I think we're now in order for a vote on ordinance number 310. And I guess before we call that for a vote, the way this would work is ordinance 310 changes the municipal code, the Union Bridge Code, and it then authorizes the council to adopt resolutions from time to time to exempt all or parts of this manufacturing type equipment as you see fit. So assuming that this were adopted, we would then be it would become effective before next council meeting. We would have a resolution at that point to introduce, and then by the end of the year we'd have the actual exemption for the next tax year in place, well in advance of the time needed for applicants to get their exemption from the state and work through the state process. I think we have to give the state notice by, is it April?
Yeah, I think it is.
For the next tax year. So there'll be plenty of time to do that.
Okay. Okay, we need a motion to adopt the ordinance number 310.
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 310.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, ayes?
Aye.
Noes? Motion's carried. I'll sign this, and we'll get that back to...
And the other item that I have under my time this evening would be the other two tower sublease amendments. You'll remember that last week you approved the sublease amendment for Verizon, and then we had discovered right before last month's meeting that there were two other amendments, AT&T and Sprint. I believe that copies of those leases were forwarded to council. There were some exhibits that weren't attached. I've communicated back and forth with the tower company, and I've seen those, and they really don't change the substance of the amendments, although they show the Union Bridge Tower listed as one of the towers that the amendments apply to. So I am comfortable with the language here. They're of the same nature as the Verizon change, meaning equipment is being added, and as a result of that, the rent's going up, so it's only a plus for the town. As to, I guess it's the AT&T lease, we still have a little bit of a question as to whether the rent increase for the additional equipment that we are told went into effect mid-2011 has been adjusted in the numbers that have been paid to the town. So we've got to, it's not a problem with the language of the amendment, it's just a question of whether we've gotten the correct adjustment. And I guess Dawn will follow up on that now that we've seen this and we've seen how it's supposed to work. On the Sprint amendment, you may have seen this concept of a double loading fee. And what that is, it gives Sprint the opportunity to experiment with additional equipment to then decide whether they want to place it there permanently, in which case there is a negotiated increase in the rent. The double loading fee is sort of an interim administration fee. We've asked about that, and the tower company is indicating, at least at this point, that we would also get a percentage of that, which is probably not, a significant amount. But we also now understand that process really has only recently been set up, so that we really don't know whether or when that will occur. So my suggestion to Dawn was just put it on the calendar for a few months down the road and see. We'll just have to see what happens. But I don't see that there's a problem with the amendment itself. The amendment provides for that, and if it works out that way, then we just need to make sure over time that we're getting the correct percentage of those payments. So my advice at this point is that council approve it, or approve both. I think you can do it in one motion, but approve both of the amendments.
Okay. You heard John's recommendation. We have anyone on the council want to make a motion to approve both the AT&T and the Sprint tower sublease?
I'll make a motion that we approve both the amendment of the AT&T tower sublease and the first amendment of Sprint tower sublease.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions for anyone? Hearing none, all those in favor, ayes?
Aye.
Noes? Motion's carried.
Okay, well, I will follow up by notifying the tower company, and then I think we're all caught up on the amendments to the leases. And I guess I'll leave it to Dawn to follow up on the question of making sure the rent adjustments are just right.
Okay, thank you, John.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Jared?
I'm not sure if everybody's had a chance to go walk on the new trail at the Wetlands Park or not yet, but it is completed. I think it looks great. I think they did a great job on it. I really think it'll be really great once we can complete it, but right now I think they did a really good job on it. The only thing, Richard and I did go do a final inspection a few weeks ago, and the only thing we noticed was that little puddle in the beginning of the trail by the bridge. I don't know if anybody's noticed it. If you go, when I went, it was probably about 3 days after it had rained, and the puddle was still there, so we wanted to take care of that. So I don't know if you noticed that we put a little swale from where it gathers water away from the trail, and it seems to be working. I have not been there the day after it's rained, but it was a few days afterwards. At the same time, pretty much, that I went last time, the water was gone at that time. So it's at least draining it quicker than it was.
I know they fixed it. C.J. Miller was back down there first part of last week, or week before last. They were back down there with some equipment.
Yeah, and it seemed to work as far as I can tell, but I'd like to get out there the day after it does rain, just to see how it looks in that way. But I think it looks great. So I will, once I'm able to take a look at that the day afterwards and really see that it's draining properly, I will work on the reimbursement and the closeout paperwork. Is there any questions or comments on that project, since we're getting down to the end of it here?
I know Bill and Barb, they travel that trail every day, and Donald, but I don't walk it every day. Okay. I'm sure you're not going to get rid of it all because it is a low-lying area.
It's a low area, and they did raise it from what it was originally. Just not quite enough, I think.
Yeah.
And, this was the best option that we had without, doing any
Severe grading or anything.
exactly, and changing the cost and all that. So, hopefully it's at least draining quicker than it was. And like I said, I'm not 100% sure on that. But, okay. Attached to my report, I have some relevant sections of the revised CDBG application that the town brought to CDBG a few days ago. And I was able to email, I think everyone should have gotten a copy of the email of the cover letter that I wrote. But I also attached the section F, which is the sources of funding and the funding breakdown. The main difference and change that we had to make in the application is we had to take, it's basically mostly just has to do with CDBG funding. The town scope of the project, or the scope of that project will remain the same, the ultimate end of the project. But we did have to remove the stormwater work from the CDBG application. The reason for that is simply they did not feel that it was a town benefit. They felt it was a sectional area benefit. So they did not allow that without the proper survey. And since we were unable to do that, they made us remove that section. But other than that, it's close to the same as the original application, just with those few changes. And the way I did that is a few things are you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a P on some of them, and that means pending for our funding. So, the town can look in additional grants or, see down the road how, the money is looking here in town to see what you guys want to finish and in your own time. So it works out okay for the town. There's no really main changes to town funding, just mostly that section of CDBG. I do also have a full copy of the application here at the town office. I just didn't make everyone copies because it's pretty thick. So if you do want to see that and go and review it with me, just let me know and I'll be happy to do that. Okay. Is there any questions on what I have attached? Like I said, if you do come across a question, please feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to answer. Lastly, everyone should have a copy of the brine tank information that Dawn handed out. I'm not going to go into this too much simply because the numbers are right here. This is an updated number from Cope. That's the company that I had forwarded to everybody. I know there's another company as well. And he, I forget his name, I'm sorry, John, will be attending the work session meeting on the 5th, I believe it is. So he'll be here to answer any questions. I believe Jeff will be here as well. So hopefully you guys can get all the answers that you need. So if between now and then, if you do have any additional questions concerning this or the cost or the price breakdown, just let me know, and I can get him to answer that.
Okay. And we just asked the council to keep these and go over them and bring them to the work session so that Dawn doesn't have to make another copy, because everybody's got a copy. Okay?
Any questions or comments for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, public comments and concerns. Rec Council?
Good evening. We've had a lot of activity going on, so I just wanted to let you know we will be starting our youth basketball season in November with practices.
You might want to come up to the mic. We're being televised tonight. I don't know whether I'll be able to pick it up loud enough or not.
Okay. So for our basketball registrations, for boys we had about 69, and for the youth girls we had about 50. Just wanted to reach out to the community and let you know that we're still looking for a couple girls to participate on the grade 7-8 team. So we're holding extended registrations, looking for a couple girls at this point. Regarding wrestling, I have some flyers on the table. Wrestling registrations have started, and the next sign-up is October 25th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. at New Windsor Middle School. And last, I'm just going to talk about baseball already, and just want to make note that registrations will occur in January, January 19th from 2 to 4, and the 26th from 2 to 4 at the community room in New Windsor.
And the baseball teams, what age groups do they take?
That will be K through, let me think about this for a minute. I think it's the same, to the 8th grade.
Okay. All right, thank you. There's no reason why kids in this town ought to be bored if they get joined in the rec council. Maybe we can keep them out of the street and they'll save a life. Okay, anything else under public comments or concerns? I have just a couple of things. I know Donald's not going to be here tonight, but a memo went out. It was, I think, every household on Broadway got one. Did you get one? Construction is going to start on or about October the 22nd, and they would like people to not park from 7 a.m. to 4:30 on the street so that they can do their work. The town parking lot has been open and available for people to park, so hopefully people will move their cars and they won't get in the middle of having to have them removed while they have construction going on. Next Monday, I know Francis Scott Key Advisory Board is having I had an email, some kind of a fundraiser at Tonytown at Gunner's Grill. I think it's $25 a person, and I'm not exactly sure. I think it goes towards some programs at the school. It's something going on with the Francis Scott Key Advisory Board. So there is a fundraiser if anybody wants to go to that, help participate with the school. This Wednesday, the 24th, from 9 to 11 and 2 to 4, there will be an open house at Silver Oaks Academy. They're having a celebration up there and an open house for anybody who wants to go, and there will be food provided by the Culinary Arts Department. Also, on November the 15th at 3 p.m., they're having a motivational speaker there. A gentleman named Eric Thomas, supposed to be from Michigan State, has a master's degree, so pass this around if anybody would like to go up. That should be a pretty good event. Let's see. That's about all I have on public comments. Does anyone else have anything on the public comments? Hearing none, we'll start this in today with Amy. You have,
Since our last meeting, I have not received any calls about water issues.
not about the rates being higher this time?
No,
Oh, that's good.
No.
Dawn got all those.
no one's confronted me to my face yet.
Dawn got all those. Well, it's a necessary evil, but,
Exactly.
okay. All right. Edgar?
Wendy.
Okay. Amy?
Laura?
I mean, Laura.
Went the other way, you got
I just,
confused.
yeah, doesn't take much to confuse me.
We're just still working on the lights on Main Street, trying to get them all working and operational and not flashing. That's all for me.
Okay, Ellen?
I have an MML meeting tomorrow for the, or Wednesday for the Communications Committee. And other than that, I have, although I still have lots of little kids running around playing in the street with their skateboards and things, that somebody's going to get hurt.
Before, we're not babysitters. I guess we can't solve all those problems. Do we have anything on when the raffle tickets will be ready for the MML?
They should be ready at the beginning of November. I got pushed back a little bit.
And the more tickets we sell, the less people have to pay for their part on the
That's correct.
scholarship fund.
Yes.
And the month of November is Municipal Government Week, right?
Maryland, it's Maryland Municipal Government Week,
The whole month.
or month. And that's usually different municipalities fly their flag, the Maryland municipal government flag, or they do things in the community or have an open house at the town hall for people to walk through or whatever. It's just to make people more aware of the municipal government and what it does.
Okay.
It's also one of the criteria for the banner city, which we have met every criteria up to this point.
I know you'll keep us on track on that.
No, I wouldn't dream of it.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is a short meeting. Does anyone have anything for us tonight? Oh, yes. Halloween will be Wednesday night from 6:30 to 8. So anyone that wants to participate, have your porch lights on. I'm sure there'll be plenty of children running around town with their bags wanting candy, and there'll be, mostly there's a lot of adults that go around with the children, because I think a lot of the kids get as much enjoyment out, or the adults get as much enjoyment as the kids. So I'm sure that there will be a couple deputies in town that night to make sure everything's going along safely. So, you know, an hour and a half, it goes pretty quick. I know a lot of people really get into it. It's, you know, it's one of our biggest holidays. You listen to the TV, that there's more money spent for Halloween than there is for Christmas these days. So, as far as costumes and candy, and it's hard to believe it, but it's a holiday that everybody really gets into. If you think they don't, ride up next to 7-Eleven and look across the street, because those people have one of the nicest displays I've ever seen. I think they've been there for 2 weeks trying to get everything in their yard, getting it ready. So,
Speaking of that, if you do have to drive somewhere during that time through the town of Union Bridge, especially if you're driving on one of the back streets where we do not have brightly lit street lights, please pay real close attention, because most of the kids will have something with them showing a light or something, but sometimes you'll come across groups that don't, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to hit somebody.
okay. Is there anything else for us tonight? Our next meeting will be on a regular scheduled night, like say November the 5th is work session. Our December meeting will probably be a week early. It will be the 17th, and that'll also be our little Christmas party for people to attend the meeting. And we will probably even have would like to have no work session that month, but I would like to have our meter maid come to the little Christmas party, because I know there's a lot of people that really haven't seen her yet, unless they've gotten a ticket. They see her on the street. She's doing a wonderful job. I'd like to commend her for that. And our other part-time and full-time employees, which we only have one full-time, but a couple part-time employees. I think it'd be nice to have them at the Christmas party so that people know who they are. Okay. Okay, if we have nothing else, we're in line for adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, ayes?
Aye.
Noes, motion's carried and the meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.